Hey, Steve Zelnardo here with Remax Experts, Zelnardo Associates, Treviso North. Just a real quick update on the current market right now, talking about inventory. As we're talking about last week, going into this week, we're going to start seeing increase of inventory, 1,000 units per week. This week, we only raised up 500 units, which is actually quite good, considering, the weeks prior, we're going about 1,000 a week. So currently right now, we're at 17,221 units, with 644 actually selling. And what we see now is actually what's on the market for low-rise construction, like basically everything else but condos. They're equally paired right now. Like, there's houses available on the market as 8,693 units, and then condos 8,528 units. So there's some balancing act there. We've seen some little bit of uneven in the past, where we saw actually the residential side, the low-rise residential higher than the high-rise. Now they're kind of equaling out, which is great. What to look forward this week, we're going to most likely, the Bank of Canada's meeting on Wednesday, we're probably going to see another rate cut, I would imagine, another quarter point. They said that they reported the inflation down to 1.8% in December. Yeah, I guess on paper it does, but I think if you look at true inflation, ultimately we're still quite high. I mean, just look what things cost in the store, and you can kind of relate there. Once we start seeing prices starting to stem down, then we'll understand that inflation's coming down. So there's still ways to go in Canada, also in the U.S., clearly. I think what the future holds too, I mean, with the new policies here in the States regarding the expansion on energy, it's going to bring down, it's so logical. I was watching the VP, I don't know if it was CNN or MSNBC, one of these stations, they're asking, so, how are you going to get down, like, what's the secret recipe to get down inflation? And he's like, well, we're going to expand energy. We're going to provide more energy. So more energy, create more volume, you're going to get lower cost of energy costs. So if your eggs need to get to a grocery store, they need to be driven there with a diesel, semi truck, manufacturing of farm equipment for, let's say, the chickens and whatnot. So, like, ultimately everything's kind of related to energy. So if the energy prices come down, there's going to be a fluctuation in prices to produce the product, and then that's going to reflect to the end user. So it's very linear, very logical. There's nothing really to it. So more energy, less prices in the stores for us. So that's how they're going to do it, and that's going to reflect both sides of the border, because you're starting to see Alberta being very pro. Clearly, that's an oil province, and they were such a rich province in the past, and then obviously everything changed with the last administration, kind of shut that all down for them, and also the Keystone Pipeline kind of like impoverished that province in a way, and it looks like they're going to start production real heavy with the new administration in the U.S. So that's good, and that's going to bring prices down for all of Canada. So this is all positive stuff. The news about condominiums, this is like new condos. We knew that this market's gone. I've never really got into it, to be honest. If you're an end user and you needed it because you couldn't afford a single family dwelling or anything of that sort, it's definitely a great option. We sold them to end users. I never sold them to investors. I never saw the value in them. The reality is, you want to be able to get to market. You're taking possession of a property. You want to take possession of it, you want to get it on the market, and you want to get it sold. But if you have a building of 500, 600 units, and literally 50 to 70% of the people have the same mindset to do that, what happens is you're going to hit the market with the same inventory, or the same exact units, and you're all competing each other, and then it becomes a race to the bottom. And then so I would never buy them because resale was always crap. You didn't get a good return on investment. And then ultimately, your rent was never great. Why? Because you had condo fees. So you'd rent it for, let's say, top dollar as a real estate term, and then ultimately your top dollar was tied up to the mortgage, clearly, and then which brings that down, the property tax, all that, and then you had a condo fee, which always put it in a negative deficit. I've never seen one of them really make off the top, like at time of possession, make a return on investment or a positive cash flow. I could be wrong, but I never saw it. We always stayed away from it, and they're really feeling it right now because a big portion of these condos were being bought by investors. They were like little donuts, like French fries. Everyone would just pick one up. It was almost like a fire sale every time. It was big lineups. Everyone would pick up a unit. It was just easy to buy and purchase. But it's always been a terrible investment. And so now they're just mentioned in this article. Number one, we watched a good interaction through the media, and I think it was Butler Mortgage. I don't follow him, but he made such a valid point. It was like there was 80 projects launched last year, condo projects launched last year, and 76 of them closed. Only 4 remained open, and so he says there's no demand for them, clearly, because we know this with the investors kind of like dried up, and then ultimately. What he's saying, by 2030, we're only going to have an additional 1,500 units available on the market, and that's huge. I mean, if you've seen how many units they were pumping out in the last, 2 decades here, it's been crazy. Now they're going to have only 1,500 additional units in the next 5 years, which is kind of crazy in that market. So what does that all mean? I think you got to look at the work behind it, because look how many people, look how many employees a building employs to get one built. Look how many different trades, how many everything, how many manufacturers. So once those buildings dry up and no one's building anymore, where does all that working staff go? All the construction trades. They're going to look for jobs. And currently, right now, if you talk to some of our friends that are contractors, and they talk to their unions, and the unions are stacked with, certified, licensed, whatever it is. If it's a plumber, if it's an electrician, if it's concrete, whatever it is, they're stacked with ready and available workers already. And this is still now there's still buildings being put up right now, but there's going to be a very large gap between. When units were sold in the last, let's say 3 to 4 years, or let's say 2 years, 2.5 years, until when they start building again. So it's gonna be a really big gap. Think about it. If you propose a building, it's gonna take you at least 2 years of planning, 2 years to you do pre-construction sales, and then probably another 2 to 3 years to build. Like, do the math. Let's just say it's 4 years to build. So 4, 6, 8 years. It's gonna be a huge gap. And then where are these employees going? That's my worst fear right now. We have family members that work in high-rise, and it's like they got to start planning now, just in case there is a downfall and they have no employment. They should be doing something, on the side, to start building a business, and just simultaneous right now until this all clears out. That's pretty much it with the condo market, and that's it. We're still very bullish on low-rise residential. We have a bunch of stuff coming up right now with listings and sales, so it's very, very active currently right now in the low-rise sector, and obviously the condo market has died. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, please reach out.